So we just got the Bad Batch Season 2 Episode 5 Entombed, and I've gotta say, it was really interesting. There's a lot to break down, but right off the bat the animation was phenomenal. And just like in last week's episode, the things we should be focusing on are not in the intricacies of the plot itself, but rather the character development. Because while this episode was fun, a straightforward adventure, the Bad Batch is undergoing a very important change. Differences in goals, desires, personality changes, and more. Let's dive straight into it, guys. So we begin on the planet of Saphatoma from last week's episode, where the riot racing happened. Wrecker and Omega are hunting for valuable scraps. They return them to Sid's parlor on Ord Mantell, and we find out that Echo and Hunter have returned from their Nerf Nuggets debacle. Now allow me to outline something right from the get-go. Echo and Hunter have very different goals and desires than their brothers. This has been noticeable for quite some time, but really emphasized in this episode. Because every single time a mission comes up, Omega and Wrecker are enthusiastic, but Hunter is so reluctant. The poor guy is bloody exhausted and realizes the life of a mercenary isn't the one he dreamed of for after the war. He wants a quiet life away from all of this. And with Hunter's character development, there's an interesting callback to Season 1. When he saw the life that Cutler Quain had on Seleucami, he wanted that for himself. A peaceful existence away from the danger and all of the noise. Seriously guys, I urge you to go back and rewatch Season 1 Episode 2. It ties in so well with what we're talking about in this episode. And when it comes to Echo, I think he wants to go off with Captain Rex. This is not the life he wants. So when Phee Genoa, who of course is Wanda Sykes' character, discovers a compass amongst the scrap, she identifies it as coordinates for some kind of pirate treasure hunt at the Kaldar Trinary system, a new one we've never seen before. Hunter and Echo don't seem like they want to go, but of course, Omega insists, saying it could be so much fun, and so our adventure begins. We go to a new planet, as I say, the animation quality is impeccable, but there is no civilized life here, just a dragon species we see attacking the Batch on a couple of occasions. Echo realizes the compass has been activated, and it leads them south to a cave. This cave is rather special, as Phee Genoa tells us, it's over 1,000 years old, and it's special in particular to pirates. The legend of the Scarra Knoll, it's like a treasure hunt with puzzles and codes to crack, and I've gotta say, every time she mentions pirates, I wonder if she knows Hondo. Is he going to appear in this season? And if not, there are rumours he's going to show up in Skeleton Crew. Fingers crossed, but in the Mandoverse, could we also see an older live-action Phee Genoa? This episode was full of Indiana Jones vibes, Tomb Raider vibes. Some sequences did drag out just a little bit too much, but overall it was fun. Now they were looking for a stone called the Heart of the Mountain, which in case you don't know, is a reference to Hypixel Skyblock. The stone itself even looks like the one from that game. Now throughout the episode, we have this really major contrast between Omega, who is loving life, she loves the adventure and all of this, and Hunter, who is skeptical about every decision Phee makes, and honestly guys, it looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. Tech is just tech, and he goes along with whatever the others are doing most of the time. After a wrestle with a dragon, they get split up, or should I say entombed. As we witnessed in Season 1, Omega's a tactician. She always knows where to go next. She cracks codes, stays calm under pressure, and gets out of sticky situations. And this season, she's even more skilled, more mature, and in a way, a small version of Hunter. And I'm wondering if later in the timeline, she'll have something to do with Thrawn, because Omega has all of the abilities, strategic, tactical, or otherwise, that Thrawn looks for. They find the stone and realise they're inside a mechanical beast, the one we saw in the trailer. Now we never learn the origin, why it's there, its purpose, or anything like that, but it's directly influenced by the Heart of the Mountain. Luckily, after a few scares, they get out of there alive, and the silver lining is that no one can be hurt by the beast anymore. Phee Genoa's droid Mel was destroyed, but as she points out at the end, she's gonna rebuild her. Mel was really sweet. So what do I make of Entombed? Well, for me, this episode is another 8 out of 10, but my criticism is still the same. I know we're only 5 episodes in, but the season has been very disjointed. There is no running plot thread, and every episode seems to be self-contained. It's not really leading anywhere specific, at least not yet, but it's early days. 5 episodes out of 16 isn't much, so I guess as old Ben would say, patience. But on the positive side, there was so much to enjoy here. I do like these kind of missions where we go to a new planet, Wanda Sykes' character was explored, the world building, the action, the character development. Generally speaking, this was a tremendous episode of animated Star Wars, but was it my favourite? I still have to say no. Episode 3, The Solitary Clone, has been the best episode so far. So looking ahead to next week, we have an episode called Tribe, that to me sounds like the long-anticipated Kashyyyk episode, probably focused on the plot threads teased in the trailer. We're gonna see Tarful, who, as we know from Jedi Fallen Order, has started a Wookiee resistance with Gungi. Compared to the titles of the rest of the season, the remaining episodes, to me, Tribe sounds the most Kashyyyk-like, and we know there are going to be Trandoshans there too, ones who terrorize the Wookiees and burn down their forests. And the Bad Batch being on the Wookiee side, and we know this because Gungi teams up with them, makes me wonder the reason the Batch gets called there in the first place. It's kind of peculiar when you think about it, because they work for Sid, who is a Trandoshan herself, the natural enemy of the Wookiees. So why would she ask them to go there to wipe out thugs of her species? That's really interesting. As we spoke about last time, we don't know if we can trust Sid. Milegi planted that idea in our brains. Or maybe someone else sends them. Could it be Captain Rex, who is also due to appear? The Kashyyyk episode is going to use tropes from the unused Clone Wars arc. Dave Filoni had this in mind for years. But if you ask me based on the first 5 episodes, I would say that someone is about to break. As I said, the main candidates are Echo and Hunter. We even saw it on Sereno. Echo wants to go and help other clones. He doesn't want to dally about on these mercenary missions. He wants to serve a higher cause, and not just to buy their freedom, because that is very subjective. Before Season 2 began, Jennifer Corbett said Echo's gonna have a few fallouts with the Batch too, but based on today's episode, Hunter is another likely candidate. Now I don't think they're gonna split up though. He is all about being a team, family, brothers, sticking together, and as the leader of their group, I don't think he's going to want to separate. But it is becoming crystal clear that he doesn't enjoy these missions anymore, whereas Omega loves to explore the galaxy, and it brings us so much excitement to do so. The era of the Empire is very different to the Republic. Echo sees that and knows it more than anyone else. I do think there's going to be a point where they're all going to have a sit down and talk about this. It's really imperative they do so, understand where everyone stands, and what they should do as a team going forward. There might be one mission too many that they decide to separate from Sid, and do so on their own terms, not necessarily buying their freedom, but just going off. It might not be worth it to them anymore, but I can see disagreements coming. I'm also excited for when they bring in the political aspects. Coruscant, Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, Palpatine, Masamida. We know that from the trailer, and that might influence them to join the rebellion. Let's wait and see. But what did you guys think of episode 5, Entombed? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. Did you enjoy it? Why so or why not? If you like this breakdown, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you always.